Hola, hola guys, yo soy Paloma and I'll be your host for today's La Vida COSIGN podcast. For those of you guys who don't know, La Vida COSIGN is committed to empowering, educating, and uplifting the Latino community through the power of media while providing a platform for authentic storytelling, cultural celebration, and educational content. And today we have a very exciting episode. We have our friends here, Ana y Cathy. ¿Cómo están?
Muy bien, gracias.
And they're going to be telling us a little bit about just the Colombian culture in general, what they have going on. We have a very exciting festival that's coming up in July that they'll be telling us about. But go ahead and introduce yourselves for the people that don't know who you guys are.
Hi, I'm Cathy Maria Triana Donado, and I am the Queen of the Carnival of Barranquilla in Dallas, Texas, 2024.
Nice, thanks. That's awesome.
My name is Ana Parada. I'm the CEO of Uptown Latino. I'm also the founder and creator of the Dallas Colombian Festival and Carnaval de Barranquilla.
Awesome. So happy to have you guys here. Like I mentioned before filming, we are excited to be advocating more for like Latinos in Dallas and in the DFW area in general. Pero antes que nada, can you please explain your attire? Because it's oh so gorgeous and it's just screaming to be looked at.
So this is the top for the traditional vestido de cumbia. This is the traditional, the original one has smaller squares, and it's kind of, being modernized with time, so a few more styles have come out, but this is the traditional top of el vestido de cumbia de Colombia.
Okay, and does the color have any meaning or nomás es cualquier color dependiendo del diseño?
And
this is the traditional color.
Oh, okay.
Red and white.
So the cumbia comes from Colombia, and the many years ago, when colonization happened and the slaves came from Africa, so the owners of the slaves will give the ladies these type of dresses that were red with squares for them to clean the houses or to do the work that they had to do. So it comes from that time. The dresses, so cumbia is the fusion between the three continents, Africa, America, and Europe. So the European part, the dresses are the European part, which the Spaniards will give their slaves. They will give the dresses to them, and they will escape in the night to go and have these parties, these celebrations, because they couldn't express themselves, so they will have to hide, and they will go with the dresses and have these beautiful cumbia parties, hiding from their owners.
I love how, like I was telling you before we recorded, yo conozco más la cumbia mexicana, but I do know that it has origins in Colombia, so it's just so interesting to see, like, empezó en Colombia, and even then, like you said, it started with three countries, like la música, right? Not, no nada más el vestido, ¿verdad?
No, like
la música, everything, right?
And it's, the meaning is so deep, and it's really... The history of cumbia is very extensive.
Yeah, and I think, do you know el instrumento típico de cumbia?
So cumbia starts with the most important instrument of cumbia is el llamador. El llamador is the one that calls.
Oh, it's the beat. And
that's the beat that calls. It will be that they call the other slaves to come to dance. And then there is el llamador is like the most important one. Then we have la tambora, which is the loudest one. It's like a cylinder type of thing, and they hit it with a stick, two sticks, and it will kind of make the beat a little bit more beautiful.
Right.
And then el alegre, which is another type of drum that, like the word said, alegre, it kind of gives it, it gives that energy of cumbia. And then the most important, I wouldn't say that all of the instruments are important, but the one that gives that colorful and beautiful sound is the flute, which is, la flauta de millo is the most, culturally the most typical instrument, but nowadays they also use the saxophone, and sometimes they will use also the accordion, which does more modern cumbia, but the original one is with the flute and the gaitas.
What's the gaita?
Gaita is another flute. It's a type of flute that
Okay.
is a long one.
Ya le estás pegando al micrófono, it's okay.
It's a long flute that it's made with barro. So the top of the flute is made with how do you say barro in barro? You know,
It's like oh my
What
God,
you
there's
use
a
for
word.
pottery.
Yeah.
What they use for pottery. Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, and it has like a little stick out where you will
You blow.
play it,
okay.
and there is la gaita hembra y macho. So there is a female and a male, and the sound is different.
Oh wow. See, I didn't know that. Porque como les dije, so I guess in my my thing, I would listen to like when I think of cumbia, I think of el saxophone. Because
Yeah.
in Mexico, you know, like
Yep.
that's the one that I'm, you know, cumbia con sax or cumbia con el acordeón, como el rey del acordeón, like artists like Aniceto Molina, right, Celso
Yes.
Piña, and all of them. So I think it's so cool and that's why I think I love Colombia so much, because I'm like, oh, that's where cumbia came from, and I'm like, como le estaba diciendo, this is my favorite genre of music to dance. So it's so cool that we, you know, Colombia has such a rich culture and history, and like you were educating me, you know, it used to be like, what did you call it?
La Gran Colombia.
Gran Colombia, right? And the festival that you guys have coming up is in celebration of El Día de la Independencia de Colombia, which is July 20th, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit of how, you know, La Independencia de Colombia, how did that happen? Give us a history lesson for those of you who, like, because I didn't know, but para los que están escuchando también.
No, yo te dejo a ti.
So like Cathy was saying, so Colombia, Venezuela, Panamá, Ecuador, Perú, y Bolivia fueron, they were
They were once known as La Gran Colombia. They were all together.
well, actually Bolivia was not, but they were all, they got their independence from the same person. Like the person that fought for the independence was the same person in all these countries. La Gran Colombia had all these countries except Bolivia. So it was all together, and then when they started fighting the Spaniards, this person came, Simón Bolívar, which he was born in Venezuela, and he helped with the independence of all these countries. So all the countries, or most of the countries in South America, the Independence Day is kind of in the same time, which is in July, like July, September, all that time of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's common to see in all those countries Simón Bolívar either on a bill or in a statue. And so he's known in all those countries as El Libertador.
Okay. I was going to say, is that why Bolivia is named Bolivia? After Bolivar? Okay.
Yes.
Ah, okay. But Bolivia wasn't part of La Gran Colombia.
No.
No.
But the independence, they got it from Simón Bolívar. And Colombia is named after Cristobal Colón.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay. See, we're learning muchísimo. We're learning so much. I'm like, tell me more.
Yes.
So now fast forward a little bit, you know, when Colombia had their Independence Day, now what does, you know, like I was asking you, yo nomás puedo hablar de México, because I know what Independence Day looks like in Mexico con nuestro grito y todo, but cuéntanos un poquito, like, what's the energy like around that time de Julio, where people are starting to celebrate? What do you start to see? ¿Qué comidas hacen? Cuéntame.
So really, in Colombia, we have a lot of holidays in Colombia. So we celebrate 2 days. 20 de Julio, July 20th, is when they actually sign the paper of the independence. So that day is really not like where the whole thing happened. August 7th, el 7 de agosto, is really when La Batalla de Boyacá, which is they had like a war and where they won, La Batalla de Boyacá, with El Grito de Boyacá, which El Grito de la Batalla de Boyacá, which is similar to what happened in Mexico. Boyacá is an area in Colombia, and that's where they fought and they won. Simón Bolívar and everybody from Colombia and everybody was helping. So in Colombia, we celebrate all the time everything.
¿Nos gusta la fiesta?
We love party. So everything. So in in those times, there's some things that the actual, like in Bogota, I'm from Bogota. They have in the downtown, they have a big celebration with concerts and stuff like that. But like now that we have migrated to the United States, we celebrated, I think, with more passion, with more, because it's like that, missing the country, missing everything, and it's the day where we celebrate our culture and we want to show to the world.
Yeah. And there's Colombian festivals all over.
All over the United States,
And so previously, I lived in New York. There's a big Colombian festival in Queens, in New York, in New Jersey, in Florida. And then now, thanks to Anna, we have a Colombian Dallas festival.
Yeah, and I think that's so important too, because I go back to, like you said, it's funny because cuando estamos en nuestros países, it's like, okay, ya viene la temporada to celebrate el Día de la Independencia. But here it's like you said, we celebrate it with more passion, almost as if like we, como dices, like our cultura is so beautiful, why not?
It's also a coming together, porque uno busca su gente y uno busca las cosas que a uno le gustan. Entonces uno ese día quieres comer esa comida típica, quieres escuchar tu música, quieres ver los bailes que son de tu tierra. Entonces es muy bonito porque es un día donde nos unimos todos y donde también se unen otras personas de otras culturas para que aprendan y compartan la cultura también.
Yeah. So cuéntame de lo típico de la comida, de los bailes. What does that look like?
Bueno, de la comida, la gastronomía de Colombia es muy vasta, muy variada, porque hay regiones muy diferentes, también porque Colombia tiene, creo que es uno de los países más biodiversos que tienen diferentes regiones. So, mi familia está en Barranquilla. Barranquilla is the coast, and so we have a lot of like fish, muchos mariscos, fried fish. Tenemos arroz con coco, arroz de coco, que sí, los plátanos fritos, que en Puerto Rico los llaman tostones, nosotros decimos patacones, empanadas, muchos les decimos fritos. Porque son fritos. Carimañola, que está made from yuca root, y hacen la masa con eso y le meten carne o queso y lo fritan. Las arepas, que se parecen a las gorditas, y también las rellenamos igual, pero con otras cosas, con chicharrón. Simplemente muchas cosas se parecen, pero varían. Está la bandeja paisa, que es lo típico, que trae un poquito de todo, carne molida. En Colombia creo que en todos lados sí nos gusta mucho el chicharrón. El chorizo. El chorizo, la morcilla. Hay muchísima variedad de comida en diferentes partes.
So, ¿toda esa comida se hace durante el tiempo de julio? ¿O?
No, todo el tiempo.
No, todo el tiempo. Sí, hay en la costa, por lo menos, lo que sí es una temporada es que en Semana Santa se hacen dulces. Unos dulces especiales, dulces de piña, dulce de coco, dulce de ñame, hay un festival de ciruela. Hay muchas fiestas de comida en Colombia, muchos festivales de comida.
Yo pienso que todo el tiempo comemos de todo, pero en la Semana Santa es muy típico ver like fish, and people don't eat meat those days because of the Lent. So we see a lot of different more fish dishes on those
like
times.
More vegetales.
But the candies that they make, los dulces that they make during Semana Santa are spectacular.
So what you're telling me is that I need to go to Colombia during
Semana Santa.
Well, I think that you should go in Carnaval. It's like one of the best times to go.
When is y'all's Carnaval?
So Carnaval de Barranquilla. So Carnaval, the story of Carnaval is very extensive. It's not ours per se. Carnivals come from like Europe, and it's a pagan celebration that comes from many years ago. And of course, with the colonization, the Spaniards brought all those cultures to America. I feel like whenever it hit America is when it became a big party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you see, the biggest carnival in the world is Rio de Janeiro,
Yes.
and the second biggest carnival in the world is Carnaval de Barranquilla. Oh. Carnaval de Barranquilla, it's a UNESCO World patrimony of humanity. It's a jewel for humanity. It's very colorful and very beautiful celebration. I love the Brazilian celebration. It's really colorful, really pretty. But the celebration in Colombia is very folkloric, and it's very it's cultural awareness to the bone. It's people that for many, many years, we're talking that some of these comparsas have been around for hundreds of years. Like El Congo Grande, it's like one of the oldest dance groups that Barranquilla have. And these have been in Barranquilla for so many years that is... They say that in Barranquilla they live 365 days of the year in Carnival, because it's true.
It's true.
It is true. Like now that I am more involved and everything is true. It's like the party never stops, and of course the days of the Carnival are crazy.
Yeah.
But the whole time, like, people live in a party, in a big party, and it's always Carnival.
And like growing up in pre-K, you're learning to dance the carnival. And in pre-K, they pick a king and a queen of the pre-K. And then first grade has one, and all the grades. And then there's like a competition, an elementary one. And then there's competitions between schools. And so the whole year in Barranquilla is based on picking the popular queens. So the popular queens are queens that are from neighborhoods.
Okay.
And so like, okay, the Oak Cliff queen, you know, and the Uptown
Downtown
queen,
and
and the Downtown queen.
Deep Ellum queen.
And so there's a bunch of queens, like 30 at least, that are the popular queens. And then there's two queens of the city. There's a main queen, and then there's like a south queen, which is La Reina de la 44.
Okay.
And this year we were lucky that La Reina de la 44, Natiala Ruiz Bell, was able to come here and participate in our carnival this year. And she's an amazing dancer. Yeah, and so
really nice.
it really is all year long. And there's a joke: when the carnival is over, they automatically post, like, when it comes in, they're like, all right, only 363 days to go. And you're counting down all year. And then there's La Lectura del Bando, where the queen, it's kind of like something funny that, you know, and spicy, that you talk about things that are relevant.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it says, so it's a whole, they make a whole deal for the Lectura del Bando, which is 1 month before Carnival starts. Okay. Which is, it's so funny because in Barranquilla, they start in September. From September, there is something really funny. It's like, desde septiembre se siente que llega diciembre. So they are looking, since September, they are looking forward to December, because December in Colombia is like really, we celebrate Christmas in a whole other level. Christmas and New Year's. And then it's like New Year's, and it's like Carnival. We skip everything Carnival. And so in January and February, before the Carnival sometimes is in February, sometimes it's in March. Those months are full of events. And La Lectura del Bando, it's so historically they used to do these announcements for everybody, but nobody would pay attention to them. So they put the queen of the carnival to start saying them, and then with time, the queen started putting a little spice on it, and it's kind of funny. It kind of sets the tone. So the queen is the biggest character in the carnival.
Okay.
It's the most important character in the carnival, with the king, but mostly the queen is like the one that carries that whole culture of carnival everywhere. So the queen will like kind of set the tone for how the carnival is gonna be that year with La Lectura del Bando. So they have La Lectura del Bando, and then like 1 week before they have night a parade called La Guacherna, which is also very typical. We were in that, this year we were invited through El Garabato Libre, which is a dance, one of the dances.
Oh, okay.
We were part of it this year in Barranquilla, and it was so amazing to be part of that.
Wow.
And then it's funny because it's like this whole thing, but it's only 3 days, 4 days of
4
carnivals. So it starts on Friday with they put the crown on the queen, and then Saturday is the most important parade, which Cathy was invited this year to. La Batalla de Flores, which also has, everything has a meaning, and I can talk about it for
No, please, by all means.
But La Batalla de Flores was started after La Guerra de los Mil Días. So there was a war in Colombia that lasted 1,000 days. And after that war, everybody was kind of so sad, afterward and everything. So they decided to do this parade where they will never fight and they will only throw flowers. So the queen throws flowers to all the little kids and everybody. So it's a kind of a symbol that we don't want to fight, that we don't want war, that we want peace. We want to celebrate. We're happy people, and that's what we want. So La Batalla de Flores is like the most important parade of the carnival, and then Sunday they have the typical costume, La Gran Parada, which is the typical costume, the most important dances of the carnival. They will showcase their dances there. And then on Monday, they have some other things. And then on Tuesday is the last day, because Tuesday...
On Monday is the fantasy parade.
Fantasy parade, yeah.
And a lot of kids go to the fantasy parade. Yeah.
What's
Because
that
it's like
one?
it's a very colorful, and the dances are more like the African.
Okay.
All of the dresses that day are fantasy based. And
they're
so lots of
sparkly.
sparkles, lots of feathers. The kids love the fantasy parade. So kids don't participate in La Batalla de Flores. And so the kids do participate in El de Fantasía.
Is there a reason why they don't participate? Is it just because of the meaning?
I think it's just I think it's more like it's such a big event, and kids get tired, and it's probably also for safety reasons.
It was about 5 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
a big one.
Long,
it's a
and
big,
it's
it's
hot.
long, and it's hot.
Really hot.
It's by the river, and it's windy sometimes, and it's hot.
Safety.
So you have to. So that's another thing. There's queens, and then there's las reinas infantiles, which are, and so there's a south one. I was very lucky to meet some super special reinitas, les quiero decir yo. They're just so amazing. And I was so amazed at them being 10, 12 years old and having all this passion, and just when you're in costume and when you have the crown on and when you go somewhere and the music starts, Barranquilleros we're very proud of all of our culture. And when I say all of our culture, it's a grand mix, because Barranquilla is a port, and so we have a lot of Turks. The slaves came, Africans came, a lot of Europeans, and then the Indians that were native to Colombia. And so it's a huge melting pot. It's a huge melting pot, and so there's so many different rhythms. And so I'm at home like listening to African music, verbena on Sunday, and then I'm listening to salsa, and then I'm listening to typical cumbia, and there's just so much of everything, and the carnival shows a little bit of all of that. And then the carnival ends with a particular story.
Oh, that's her favorite.
That was my favorite.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
I did want to ask a question. What does it take to be the queen? How does that get chosen?
So in Barranquilla,
Okay.
so in Barranquilla, like she mentioned, there is different queens, but the most important, the main one, which this year is Melissa Curevilla, it's chosen by the mayor office, la alcaldía. There is certain things like what family they come from, background in dancing. All of them have to dance. They have to dance every
I love
rhythm
that. I love
that
that.
of the queen. Like one of the main characters of the queen is that she has to dance every rhythm that you put in front of her.
So they get not tested, pero le ponen la música.
Well, it's like-
It's like tested.
Tested,
So
yeah?
this is like so deep. The roots are so deep
Right,
into
yeah.
the carnival. It's a city that is moved by the carnival. So these families have little girls that she met, some of them, they started preparing these girls since they are 6 years
Yes.
old, 5 years old. Like really even before then. Sometimes they are born, oh, nació la reina.
Yeah, and it's like
It's a
that.
big deal.
It's a big deal. Like for Barranquilleros, like if you bring Miss Universe, they're like, la reina del carnaval. So
Yeah.
it's like the biggest.
Just so you can get an idea of how big.
Yes.
Yeah,
that
yes.
is. Wow.
Because like I said, it's in your head since I remember going to school and you aspired, I want to be the queen of my classroom. So you practiced and you went to talent shows in the neighborhood and everything, and you wanted to learn as much as possible. And you're listening since you're 7. Sometimes they put a broomstick behind you so that you can have
El
the
porte.
el
Yeah.
porte.
Yeah.
El porte, yep.
And you're a little girl, and I remember being like 11, and my mom like, saca el pecho, estira la espalda, levanta la quijada. And you grow up with this, but in a pretty way,
Yes.
not and you want to aspire, you live with, I think every girl from Barranquilla lives in dreams inside in some form. Quiero ser reina.
Even if they
If
don't
it's-
anymore, like at some point in their lives,
Even
they
if-
dream
yeah.
with being the queen.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's la reina popular or la reina de, you just dream with that. I know that I did. Mi mamá fue my mom was one of the popular queens.
Okay.
And mi mamá fue reina del barrio Olaya, which is where I grew up. And I kind of always had that little inside. And then when I go back home, people be like, you could have been, but you left. And then you're like, thanks.
But look,
Yeah, like look.
Yes,
se hizo.
yes, sí se hizo. So I was very blessed for the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's awesome. Que lo que me encanta es que desde chiquitos, because I see this in Mexico too, like desde pequeños nos enseñan, this is the bailes tradicionales.
Así.
And like there isn't a person in Mexico that doesn't know how to dance or have some sort of rhythm at least,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Porque desde chiquitos, like I explained to my friends here that are from the US, I'm like, we're born with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
in our
You
blood.
are.
It's like-
It
If we
is.
hear music,
you
we're
you
gonna
haven't
move.
even started walking and
Yeah,
you're
ya
already.
estás, baile,
Yeah.
baile, ¿verdad?
So yes, it's very like going to Barranquilla because Colombia in general is very multicultural and rich in culture.
Yeah.
But in Barranquilla is so like they live with this.
We
thing,
live
and
with
this-
it.
And there is like some people that, like she said, like, oh, I want to be the queen, and they practice. But there is some other people that are super serious, and since the girls are little, they have a coach that
Classes,
teach them. And for example, our director Camila Montaño Corro, she from the time that she was little, and she was the queen of cumbia, and then she was the queen, the international schools queen, and then she grew up in the same thing. Like she came here, and she's like, oh, I had this dream of being a queen, and then she was the first queen here in Dallas.
Wow.
So it's like this thing of it's not just for a little bit, but this
for
comes
life.
from like
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
generations.
And so when I heard that there was a festival del Carnaval de Barranquilla, I was like, I have to go because, we're all looking for a little piece of home
Right.
here. And so when I saw Camila and her dresses were amazing, are amazing, and the way that because she's prepared since she was little, her facial expressions. The cumbia is a dance of love. It's
Courtship.
like a courtship. Yeah, the man is trying to convince her
Ganarse a la mujer.
que sí, que vamos a bailar, que tal, y la mujer lo rechaza.
But like with her eyes,
With
she's
her
like
eyes,
coqueta,
sí,
Muy
sí.
latina,
Ajá,
típica.
yeah. Like no, but maybe.
Sí, y se baila con una vela, entonces el hombre le regala una vela y ella le hace así, lo quema.
Lo quema,
Le
así como que no te me
Como que
acerques.
no
te me acerques.
se me
y
dice la
luego
vela,
con la
pues.
falda. Puf.
Ajá. And so it's a courtship, and when I saw Camila dancing, her expressions are amazing. She does it so beautifully. And there was a little bit of everything. I remember just being like, oh my God, we finally have something,
Yeah.
que sentí yo como barranquillera. Llegó el carnaval.
Yes.
And because we live in it all year round, I have these big paintings in my house del carnaval, and I'm not a very decorative person, but I have those paintings because I love el carnaval. And when I look at that, it just makes you feel
nostalgic.
happy.
Yeah.
The carnaval is a happy feeling. I have memories of sitting on the sidewalk and seeing the dresses. And so Barranquilla and the carnival moves all around. You're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I can't
Like
wait.
all year, you're like
all
waiting.
Year round.
I'm telling you, like since September, we are there.
And not to mention the so many different groups. One of my favorite ones son los arlequines, y son como unos diablitos, tienen unas caretas y escupen fuego. Tienen unas campanitas y escupen fuego. Y cuando yo era una niña, when I was a little girl and watching that, it was magical.
Yeah.
It's still magical. And then at some point I was like, should I learn how to try to spit fire? Like,
So is that different from lo que le estaba diciendo la marimonda?
Yeah,
Yes.
so there is so many characters
Yeah.
to the carnival.
Yes.
And it's so cool because each character means something and it was important at certain point in history. So there is 13 patrimonial dances of Carnaval de Barranquilla, which made Carnaval de Barranquilla 20 years ago the UNESCO Heritage for Humanity award. So some of them are like Los Arlequines is one of them. There is some other ones that are with like birds, because Colombia is the #1 in species of birds in the world.
Okay.
There is La Marimonda. Well, that's not one of the patrimonial ones, but it's like one of the most popular ones.
Okay.
Because La Marimonda is it's one of my favorite characters because it's funny. It's
Yeah.
like La Marimonda represents the Barranquillero, like the people from Barranquilla that are, I don't know if I can say this, but like mamadores de gallo. Like, in Colombia, we said this expression saying somebody that likes to joke a lot.
yeah,
mess
fool
around.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. And Barranquilleros are that all the way. Like
All the
it's just
time.
all the time. They're always happy, always dancing, and then always like making jokes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So if we go back in time, there was a time that some of our ancestors couldn't express themselves because they were slaves. So they will wear these like they would cover themselves in the carnival so nobody could tell who they were, and they could make fun of the owners, or they could make fun of people that they couldn't usually make
Right.
fun of.
Yeah, yeah.
So La Marimonda, comes from that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like an elephant, but it's not an elephant.
It's a weird. I
It's a
recommend
weird-
you Google this. Because
Yes, Google La
Google it
Marimonda.
so you can see, because me llamó la atención, because like how you mentioned los diablitos, like in Mexico we have like all over, right? We have the diablito ourselves.
Yes.
But and this may be different from different estados de Mexico también, porque también tenemos different regiones, but in one of the regions that I went to go visit, we went to a museum and they have máscaras de los diablos that they put on, and they're heavy, son de barro. And I was looking at it, and it was kind of similar in a way to, they made fun of the Spaniards through, you know, when they had their festivales, they would put on their diablitos y se vestían como Spaniards, and that was their way of making fun of them because they couldn't express themselves.
Well, it related back to something now that we say making fun of. When Shakira was in the halftime Super Bowl show, and whenever she got up close to the camera, she went, that was actually a very high cultural representation, because the slaves would well, there's another dance que es el son de negro.
Okay.
And so people paint themselves with oil, and because you're so proud of your background, of your heritage. But the owners used to be like, oh, you know, like make fun of them or try to downgrade. So they made the dances making fun of them. And they would go, oh, look at them. But they were actually making fun of them. Yeah.
Yes.
And so when Shakira went up there and did that, she was representing the dance of the slaves of Son de Negro.
Wow.
And so when people went, oh, what did she do? And we went, oh, we're big cultural, you know.
Yeah, like
really
llorando. But
yeah, but that was what she did, because she's also from Barranquilla.
Wow. I was
So
always
it is
curious,
like famous Barranquilleras, Sofia Vergara and
Yes.
Shakira. And Shakira, in that specific performance, she shows so many, like, people that understand, because people are like, oh, she was dancing something weird. I don't know what it was.
Please explain,
But she was dancing. So she danced mapalé, which is before the cumbia was mapalé. Mapalé is the basic drum music that the slaves would like. Mapalé is a fish.
Okay.
El mapalé. El mapalé, it's a fish, and whenever they would take him out of the water, it will move really, you know, really.
Yeah, like a fish out of water.
Yeah. So they were like, oh, if we get out of our comfort zone, if we get out of where we are slaves, we can move like that. So with the drums, they will like play really fast, and they will make those movements with their bodies, and that's mapalé. It's a dance. It's a type of dance. She does mapalé. She also dance something that is more newer, is not so historically danced, but it's very typical of Colombia nowadays. It's champeta.
Yeah.
Champeta is like the new reggaeton in Colombia, and it's a mix between like that African rhythm with the Caribbean, you know, kind of reggaeton, all mixed together. She also danced that, and then what she was saying, she also in Barranquilla they have this background of a lot of people that came from the Middle East. It's very we have Vanessa Buchaibe, that she's from here. She's from the United States, but she has Colombian descendants. And Abuchaibe is a very big Middle Eastern name. Shakira is Lebanese. So it's a big, that contrast in Barranquilla has created and also made the belly dance and the Middle Eastern dance kind of their own.
And we have a lot of Middle Eastern food.
Yes.
That we don't consider like Middle Eastern.
Like carimañolas is like a kebab made with yuca. So it's like, it comes from the...
La idea de allá, pero
con la
twist.
And so another funny thing, just now that we mentioned it. So the choreographer for the champeta dance for Shakira is Liz Dani.
Okay.
And I think she was 19 when she did that. So
young.
Shakira saw her dancing and was just like, oh my God, like champeta. And so
teach me.
Teach me. Yeah, that's how it happened. And so Shakira took Liz Dani, and Liz Dani was the one that made the choreography for the halftime, for the champeta part. And so when I saw that presentation of Shakira, I was just like, thank you for showing a little bit of Barranquilla to the world. I felt very connected to that. And so on our trip now that we went to Colombia, because now when we start talking about what the foundation, what Representa Foundation does here, the main focus is on the children. on being able to, because if we don't pass these traditions down to the children, then they're going to get lost.
Yeah.
And so before I was queen, me and Anna had actually worked on some social activities, not having nothing to do with the carnival or anything, helping people in need over there. And so because now the foundation and the kids and everything, I was like, Anna, it's important for me to have that social connection. It's not just about being pretty and dancing and you know, and it's fun to be queen. It means a lot more
The
to me.
dresses and
For me, I had a very high standard within myself, and so we were able to book Liz Dani.
Yes.
And she did a class that
It was amazing.
that we founded that was free for low-income children.
Wow.
And
Soledad,
in
yeah.
Soledad Atlántico, which is like outside of Barranquilla, and the kids got to meet Liz Dani. She was amazing. She
was so nice
Her
to the
energy.
kids and everything,
I
yeah.
danced the entire class because I could not miss one moment of it. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like she was with Shakira, now she's with me. And we're here with the kids. And it was amazing seeing the kids, their faces light up. And she took them a message of, because she's from that neighborhood,
Right.
Which is like a low
income
neighborhood, and so it was great for her to give them the message of follow your dreams, do what you want to do, and it was amazing for me to be part of that with Representa Foundation.
And that's gonna be my next thing that I'm gonna ask you here, guys, is like what, I love that you gave us so much history, because like I know a little bit about Colombia. Now after this I know a little bit more. Pero como me dicen ustedes,
then you have to go to
now I have to go to Barranquilla is what I'm hearing. I'm going for Carnaval when it comes. And learning all the dances and just soaking up, because I think all cultures are so beautiful, but for me, and maybe I'm biased, I feel like Latino cultures are just so colorful and rich.
Very colorful.
And, even though we have, like you said, we were talking about slavery, maybe like that dark past, we have a way of making that into something beautiful.
We have embraced it
and
really
we
well.
have embraced it, and it's now a part of us. And like you said, with El Son de Negro, we're proud of our roots and where we come from. And I think that's such a message to be kind of like people should know, should feel about this, about their culture, And so what my next thing is, what can people expect from, now being part of your next event with come get a taste of Colombia type of thing, right? So what can they see, or what can they expect to see?
So this year for the festival, so the Dallas Colombian Festival has been in the city of Dallas for 6 years already. This is our 6th year. And we try to showcase a little bit of the culture, as well as we bring international artists from Colombia, and we also have the food and the fun. This year, thanks to the City of Dallas Office of Arts and Culture, we are going to have a really nice project called Vive Colombia. So there was something in Colombia many years ago. They still have it that said "Vive Colombia, viaja por ella." So it's like a trip or a journey through the regions of Colombia.
Okay.
Colombia. So kind of a thing right now. UNESCO has named Russia as the first cultural rich country in the world. Second one is Mexico, and the third one is Colombia.
Oh, wow,
so
okay.
something to know. So Colombia has so many. The variety is so big. So we have the Andes chain of mountains that right when it comes to Colombia, it splits in 3. So we have the Andes region, which has all kinds of music that is very, that dates back to the Spaniards, just a lot of influence from the Spaniards. Then we have the Pacific coast. The Pacific coast have big influence from African They have the marimba is one of the instruments for the Pacific, and then of course the northern coast of Colombia or the Atlantic coast of Colombia, which is very cumbia, mapalé, all these other rhythms, and then we have like another part that is completely different, which is Los Llanos, which I would always put Los Llanos Orientales de Colombia is very similar to Texas. It's flat, a lot of cows, and then they always wear like cowboy hats, like the cowboy
Vaquero
area of
people.
And just a little
So
note.
what you're telling me is that I would fit in with my
Yes.
boots.
And then I also want to make a little note that en Los Llanos y como para Medellín hay música de despecho. Y le decimos música popular, pero es como the way that Mexico took and made their version of the cumbia. Colombia took their version of Mexico and made their own like
rancheras,
como rancheras, and so we call it música popular. While I was in the Carnaval of Barranquilla, I was able to meet Jesse Uribe and his wife Paola Jara, and they both sing that rancheras. And then we haven't even mentioned in the coast there's a lot of vallenato.
Vallenato, yeah, we haven't even mentioned that. It's
a
a rhythm that was born. So vallenato, when you see a whale, the kids or the babies of the whale are called vallenato in Spanish. And then, so this was born in Valledupar, so it's vallenato.
Yeah, and it's music with a lot of sentiment. With the most important instrument is the accordion. Carlos Vives is, I think, one of the most popular.
Los Diablitos, Binomio de Oro.
And then I was also able to meet Elder Dayan Diaz, which is son of Diomedes Diaz, which was one of the most famous.
I would say the most famous
singer of
vallenato.
And Rafael Orozco. And so the carnival has such a variety. Colombia has such a variety. The Viva journey that she's saying, so the festival is going to be able to take the people that attend to the festival and go through the regions of Colombia.
Wow. Yeah, so in Los Llanos, which is what I was saying, like kind of like Texas. I feel like it's Texas. It's the Texas of Colombia. They have this really fast music called joropo. So joropo, it's a very fast pace. It reminds me of some of the music from Mexico that is like zapateo, como guapango, but it has the harp. The harp is one of the instruments, so it sounds that instrument just makes it a whole different thing, and it's so beautiful, and it's really fast paced.
The first time when I came to Texas, and I hadn't known Mexican culture really, and then they were playing guapango, and they were like, will you dance this? And I was like, well, it's kind of like joropo, so I'm going to get out there and give it my best because we got something similar to this.
Yeah, and then the last but not least, we have the largest, we're part of the largest, or the lung of the earth, which is the Amazon. So Colombia has a big part of the Amazon. So we have the Amazonian part, which it's... the dances and the culture are more dated to native, so it's more like rituals, and the dances are, dance to the sun, to the moon, to the animals in general, because we are such a rich country. Biodiverse is we are the number one in birds, number two in reptiles. The country is so diverse.
Little fun fact that a lot of people don't know: in the Amazon River in Colombia, they are pink dolphins.
Yes, the pink dolphins of the Amazon River.
They are river dolphins, and the females, when they are in the water and going through changes, they turn pink.
Yes, so pretty. Yes, fun fact. There is also the smallest but deadliest frog in the world is from Colombia too. It's a very little frog that if it spits at you, it's like very, the venom
Poisonous.
is really, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still taking the trip to Colombia.
Take it.
To see the dolphins,
have
we'll avoid
to.
the frogs. I'm going to Carnaval. I'm eating all the food.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm learning all the
And then
dances.
you go to Cali, and like in that area there, salsa is so big. So Cali is the world capital of salsa. Even though salsa is not Colombian, we have really embraced the salsa in Colombia.
Yeah.
Salsa is like a mix, and it really, many people don't know, but salsa was born in New York. People think that it was born in Cuba or Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic, but it was really born in New York, in that melting pot that we are talking about that in New York has too. Cubans came, Puerto Ricans came, Colombians came, and then all of a sudden we have a mix of things called salsa.
Yeah.
It's called salsa because it's a mix of things. And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I'm learning so much today. What?
And then one of the so in the presentations, there's also a king, El Rey Momo.
Yeah, El Rey Momo.
And,
Okay.
and then me, I'm the queen, and there's a infantil, una reina infantil, y un rey infantil. And
kings
one
and
of the most
queens.
important things is that the kids dance. And so one of the things that I'm so very proud of being part of this is because Anna has made sure that through Representa Foundation, the classes for the kids are free.
Wow.
Yes.
And so it's
That's
very
huge.
important, not everyone has the same economic status.
Yeah.
And it's free, so there's no reason. And it's open to everyone.
To everyone,
To
like
everyone.
it's free for everyone,
so-
not because you have less or no. It's for
Yeah.
all the kids. Always are free.
Yeah.
And talking about, so we do all of these. I have done the festival for so many years, and then in 2019, I was like, we need to make this more of something to help the community. So
Yeah.
our main goal is to educate the community, of course, in general about Colombian culture, but we really want the kids to feel proud of their heritage. We see whenever we come to this country, sometimes there is different things. Sometimes we're not really proud because we feel like we're less.
Yeah.
We are not very proud because they might get bullied at school or whatnot. We don't want to speak Spanish. And that is not good, because those are your roots, and even if you want to cut them with a knife, you can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's in your blood.
Right.
So you cannot run from your culture. And what we want is to encourage these kids, even if they're not Colombian, which we have two little girls that are from Argentina. Her daughter was born here and is Colombian Cuban. We also have some Colombian Mexican. So
My friend's daughters are Mexican and black.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're born here, and the three of them are
they
in
love
it, and they love it.
They love it. They go to all the
cute.
presentations and everything. So it's for us to realize that there is nothing wrong with Latin culture. Actually, in fact, it's very important to know this, because it's so rich and it's so diverse, and there is so much history in it that we need to know about it, and we have to be proud. So from that feeling, Representa Foundation was born. Mm-hmm. So Representa Foundation is our nonprofit organization, 501c3 in the state of Texas, tax exempt. And we, with Representa Foundation and other help like City of Dallas Office of Arts and Culture, City of Louisville, City of Addison, they have helped us making this a reality, to where kids don't have to pay to learn folkloric dances from Colombia. They don't have to pay anything to learn all these things that you're learning today.
Right.
It's available for them.
Yeah. And I can say real quick, as a parent, so my little girl's 5, and she dances, and she will run around the house singing, "Ay," and she loves the marimonda. The marimonda is her absolute...
Her bread and butter.
Yeah, that's her bread and butter. And just me seeing that just fills me.
Yeah.
Really feels me that she has that opportunity,
Yeah.
and I have the opportunity, and that Anna has given not just me, but all the families that participate the opportunity to have that.
Yeah.
It's really, really special.
And I think that was what really resonated, you know, a couple of things that you guys said with me is that, like, I don't have kids, but I know, like, when I do have kids, I do want them to be, like, learning about la cultura mexicana and other cultures. Because, like I mentioned before, all Latino cultures and all cultures in general have something to show, and they have their own traditions and their own comidas and their own festivales, and there's just so much that we don't know, right? Just
And
like today.
the more you know about other cultures, so the person that travels a lot to other countries will never be racist, will never be those are things that you learn because you go to different places and you understand that people are different in different places, and cultures are beautiful. Even if you don't like everything about a culture, it's okay, but that tolerance comes from knowing.
And getting
and some people cannot travel, so we kind of help them help them see the diversity, and we go to a lot of events where we are always with the Mexican ballet folclóricos, Peruvian, Argentinian, and all these other groups that are here in Dallas, because Representa is for Latinos in general. We like to showcase the Latino culture, the beauty of the Latino culture, not just Colombia. It happens that we're Colombian and we have this folkloric dance team, but we want everybody to know about Latino culture. It's very important. The more you know, the less you are going to put somebody in a bad position because they're Latino, or because they are African American, or because they are Native American. You know, you understand that there is history behind all of our colors and all of what we are.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing too. And
Yes.
and as much as I would love to sit here and talk more, because I do have questions about Colombia and everything. Again, like I said, La Vida COSIGN is so happy to have you guys here.
Thank you
and
so much.
To talk about Colombia and everything de Colombia, la comida, la gastronomía. You guys are making me hungry. Porter, we're going to Barranquilla.
we're gonna have another day. You're
day.
gonna have to bring us, and we'll bring you food and
Oh my God.
show you about Colombian food.
Yes, please. But so la gente can know, where can we get tickets? When is it? Just so they know again, para que vayan y apoyen, so they can learn and taste a little bit of Colombia, right?
So our big event is July 20th. It's at the Levy Event Plaza in Irving. You can get tickets at uptownlatino.net. We also have Feria de Cali. Feria de Cali is in December. So if you want to get in touch with us for all these events, because we're going to be part of Color Palooza on the 27th of April in the city of Louisville. If you want to know about these little events that we have every weekend, just go to Representa Foundation on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and you can follow us there, and you will get to see all the events that are coming and where the queen is going to be, and you can come and meet her and meet the other queen, our youth queen, Samantha Reyes, and our king, Osvaldo, and our youth king, Lenny.
And where can we follow you guys on Instagram?
So you can follow us at Representa Foundation, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and also Uptown Latino, and Dallas Colombian Festival.
And then you can follow me on Instagram at La Reina Cathy Maria, and on Facebook as Cathy Triana.
All right. Well, for this episode of La Vida COSIGN podcast, that was it. Again, muchísimas gracias por estar
Thank
aquí.
you so much for having
Un honor.
us.
Muchas gracias.
Of course. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.